Hello, thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Melissa Juanes, but you can call me Mel, and today I'm going to be showing you part 2 of my houseplant tour fall 2021. I will be showing you the plants that I have upstairs in my plant room, and it will also include my IKEA Milbo greenhouse cabinet and the plants that I have in there. If you missed out on last week's video, I showed you all the plants that I have here on the main floor of my home. So I will link that in the description for you if you want to check it out if you missed out on it. And also I will link in the description the tour that I did earlier this year. So I haven't done a houseplant tour or even a plant room tour since earlier this year. I think it was like January or February. So it'll be cool to see the transformation of my collection, of my plants, how much they've grown. So stay tuned for that. Give this video a thumbs up if you did like it, and let's go upstairs and see all my plants in my plant room. All right, so we are in my plant room, which is, I think, the definition of an indoor jungle. There's plants everywhere, especially since it's winter. A lot of them are in this room because the humidity tends to get a lot higher, and I have grow lights in here, so definitely full of plants. So we're gonna just be working left to right. And then I'm also going to show you the plants in my IKEA greenhouse cabinet because there are some new additions. I'm going to try to not talk too much about each plant. If not, we will be here for a couple hours. So I have to condense my thoughts on each plant. But anyways, first things first is my Alocasia Regal Shield, which is in the middle of the room right now, or usually right now for the video I have it on the side because I used to have it downstairs. Now I have it up here for the winter just to help it not go dormant. But I love the foliage. I love the iridescent shine, and it's in this plant stand for now. So yeah, it's such a cool jungle vibe, and it's in this room just for the season. And on the left side of this skid, I have one of my Rhaphidophora Tetrasperma plants. These plants are just out of control right now. I have one on one side and one on the other. And as you can see, it's growing up at the top as well, and it has 4 new growth points. So there's one there, one in the back, and then one over here. So it's definitely gonna continue to grow in different directions. And then the other vine is going all the way to the back behind my Monstera and then making its way over here. It's kind of like now over here. So I have to figure something out with it because I do want it to continue to vine. And then I have the other one on this side of the skid, and it's also going up, and it branched out here. Last time I propagated it, I did a video on that. And then it goes around. It does have a couple of growth points as well at the top, and then it ends up over here. So definitely loving the space, but she's definitely getting out of control. I'll have to figure something out, but for now I love it. And since I'm doing new things around this room, I hope that she will look good with the idea that I have in the future. So stay tuned for that. Next we have my Syngonium Pictus exotica, which is doing really well here. All that foliage, such big leaves. I love this plant. It's definitely easy care and doing good just under this grow light here. And then over here I have my Philodendron Silver Sword or Philodendron Subhastatum, and you can see these leaves are like longer than my hand. Such beautiful foliage and the mature leaves. And you can see I am air layering it. I'll show you another piece that I've air layered already, but for some reason it reverted back to mature form, so I'm going to cut it there. Here I have my Rhaphidophora decursiva, also known as dragon's tail, and it's such a cool plant. As you see, I'm also air layering it because it did give me a runner, and then all of a sudden it gave me the actual fenestrations on this leaf, so I decided to air layer it, that way I can propagate it and then start a different plant with this cutting. And you see there's a new growth point. And then if we go up here, I have a little shelf
that I have some propagation. It's just some philodendron, some Syngonium Jade Moonlight. These two snake plants I actually grew from a cutting or a divided piece, which is pretty cool. And then up here I have a Pearls and Jade Pothos. These are actually just cuttings in perlite because the full plant got root rot and I was able to salvage quite a bit of it. And then I have my variegated string of hearts. When I bought it, it was just up here, very small plant. And then it's grown all of this since I've had it. And it's close to this grow light, so I think it loves it for sure. And then here's another Pearls and Jade, which is part of the other plant that got root rot. But again, I was able to salvage quite a bit of it. And then here in front of my Monstera, I have 3 Micans pots, and they're growing like weeds as well. Such an easy care plant. And everything that I want, heart-shaped, velvety, iridescent, easy care, all of that. And then behind it, we have hiding, unfortunately, my Monstera adansonii wide form, and I'll get close to the leaf so you can see it. Here is an up close of a leaf so you can see it's a lot wider, and I'll show you in comparison my narrow form in a little bit, just so you can see the difference. And then of course in the corner I have none other than my Monstera, which you probably have seen in a lot of my videos. She's doing really well, but at some point she may have to go downstairs as well because she is getting a lot taller, or I'll just have to bring her down off that stool to make more room. So there she is. And then beside her I have my Monstera Peru, which is also very, very long. Such a beautiful plant. And I, again, not too sure if I want to make it look like the Rhaphidophora where it's just like vining all over the room, or if I just want to keep it more bunched up on this trellis, but we'll see. I'll give you a close-up of the leaves. Here's a close-up of a leaf, and honestly it should be called like the crocodile plant because of the texture, the color, the pattern. I love it. And then I'm going to show you the plants that are hanging first. So I have my Philodendron Lemon Lime in a hanging planter. I have another Micans, as if I didn't have enough Micans, which is trailing, and I've actually taken a lot of cuttings and sold them and gave them away, so it's not as long as it once was. But I just love the curtain of foliage. And then over here I have my Philodendron Cordatum, and I have my Philodendron Brazil side by side, which are definitely doing really well. I may have to actually up pot them into a hanging planter that's a bit wider because they are just pushing out so much growth all the time. My Philodendron Brazil is probably, I don't know, maybe 6 feet by now, and I actually grab the vines and I bring them back up so that they're not on the floor. So definitely very, very long and very, very full. And then on the top of the shelf, so beside the Monstera Peru, I have my Syngonium Jade Moonlight. So this is actually the mother plant that I have. Again, such lovely, lovely foliage and so full and healthy. And then here I have my Syngonium Argyris, which is also trailing down, and I brought it back up so that it's not touching the floor. So it's probably like, I don't know, 4 or 5 feet. Again, very long. Then here I have my Syngonium Albo, which is such a beautiful plant, and it's doing really well since I've repotted it and staked it up. I did a video on that. So she's crawling all the way up this trellis, and I just recently put this on the shelf. It was actually facing the window before, and I can tell that the leaves are starting to turn, so I'll probably move it and have it facing the window or facing the grow light. I just wanted to show you a quick close-up of this leaf. How beautiful is that? It has like two-tone green, almost like a sage green and a dark green with the white. So beautiful. And then here beside the Syngonium Albo, I have a Syngonium White Butterfly, which is also a really easy care plant. And I got it on sale. I was just excited because the leaves were just big and the variegation is super cool. Like each leaf looks different. Pretty dramatic. When you don't water it, it just all wilts. And then when you water it, it will perk up again. So that's always the kind of plant that I like, the one that talks to me. And now at the bottom section, we have my Ficus. I think this is the Taneki. I don't think it's the Ruby, but I could be wrong. And I actually propagated it and the other pieces right here in water. But I'll give you a close up. It's actually pushed out 2 new growth points since I've cut it. So you can see the top has 1 growth point, and then the bottom right, there's a growth point that's trying to push out. So hopefully I'll get 2 branches, so 1 on either side. Here is my Hoya pubicalis, just like the regular one. And I can't really show you a lot of the plant because it's actually facing the sun. So a lot of it is on the other side. But she's definitely going wild. She's grabbing onto whatever she can. So I actually decided to bring her up, and I'm going to show you how she's attached to the trellis of my Syngonium Albo. So here's my Syngonium Albo and the trellis, and then the Hoya, you can see it's crawling upward, and I'm allowing it to grab on to this as opposed to grabbing onto other plants. And I think she's liking it. So we'll see where else she decides to go. Beside my Hoya pubicalis, I have a reverted Syngonium Albo. So there's one vine that just has green leaves, but then there's another vine that has a tiny bit of variegation still. So I just keep cutting it back because 2 of the leaves do still have variegation, and hopefully it will push out leaves that have more variegation. And on the rest of this bottom shelf, I had to move the vining plants so you can see. So here's the cutting that I was talking about for my Ficus. Here is a snake plant. I think it's like cylindrica or something. I propagated it from that piece and it's actually grown a plant, which is awesome. And then I have 4 propagation boxes with wet sticks, micans, Monstera Peru, string of hearts, all of that. So not going to show you all of that, but yeah, those are just things that I'm propagating. Here is one of my plants that I am obsessed with right now. It's in the middle of my room and for all good reasons. This is my Philodendron Alchoco Red. Isn't this such a gorgeous plant? I love everything about it. The leaves, the shape, the back of the leaves, how they're a lighter color. You can see there it's like pinkish red. I love the petioles. They're like bumpy, super cool. The leaves come out lighter and then with time they come in and become darker. This is the newest leaf right here. Like, wow. Wow, wow, wow. Anyways, okay. Enough about this plant, but definitely such a beautiful, stunning plant. This is a plant that you would have seen in my last week's video of my houseplant tour because I had it downstairs, but then I decided to bring it up here and find a spot for it up here. So I'm also going to add something for it to climb on because you can see here, this is the newest leaf. And yeah, so not too much more about this one because like I said, you would have seen it already. Here is the 4th pot of micans that I was talking about. It's also long and trailing, looking gorgeous and healthy, but definitely going to do a bit of a project with all 4 of these. They are just doing really well and I want to do more of a project with them. So those 3 and this one together. So we'll see. Stay tuned for the idea that I have in mind. But yeah, so the next plant is my Monstera adansonii narrow form. So like I said, this one is a bit different. Based on the name, you can guess that the leaves are more narrow and a lot more long versus the wide form. And the style of this plant is completely different. So I styled it with a basket and it's more full, more lush, and it's doing its own thing. And I don't know, I'm deciding whether or not if I'm gonna let it trail or to also climb, but we'll see. But yeah, let me know which one you prefer. I did post a poll on my Instagram and wanted to see which one people would choose. So let me know which one you would prefer. Before we go into my IKEA greenhouse cabinet, I wanted to show you my string of hearts, which is also doing well. Don't mind the mess back there, still organizing, still working along. Don't mind the carpet, we all know about that. So this plant is doing super good just outside of the greenhouse cabinet. I did have it in my bathroom that has a south-facing window, but I decided to move it here and just kind of try it out to see if it would survive. And so far so good because it is getting the light from the cabinet. So yeah, very, very long plant. I would say again, maybe 6 feet. And now let's go into my cabinet. So for my IKEA greenhouse cabinet plants, I did just do a video a few weeks back. So if you saw it, then you may have already seen a lot of these plants, but there are some updates. So definitely worth checking out, and a couple of new additions to my plant collection, and maybe you could already see one of them right now. So let's do a little tour of my cabinet. So first I'm going to talk about this plant back here because I definitely forgot to mention it in the other video of the greenhouse cabinet. So this is my Philodendron Subhastatum, and it's such a unique plant. As you see here, I'm showing you the foliage. So the leaves on the top is nice and dark, and then the leaves at the bottom, it looks like it's painted red or maroon. Super unique, super cool. And you can see the newest leaf right there. But I think it's going to outgrow the cabinet soon, probably within 3 leaves maybe, just because it does tend to reach upward. But for now, it's doing okay in that corner. And then here I actually have some Syndapsis trubii moonlight cuttings, and then a random Micans cutting and moss. And then back here I have some Syngonium Albo cuttings, and I have a Monstera Peru cutting and a Philodendron Melanochrysum cutting right there. So few cuttings here in moss. And this is the newest addition to my plant collection, and it is my Philodendron Florida Beauty. I can't even believe I'm saying that out loud and that I have this in my collection. For those that are not familiar, it is quite a rare and expensive plant, and I actually got it in a trade at a plant swap event that I just attended this past weekend. So stay tuned for a video about plant swap events. But I managed to snag this beautiful plant that's a top cutting, and it has a growth point already. Again, for those that are on my Instagram, you would have definitely had a sneak peek of this already, but it's okay. And there she is, acclimating in moss. It is a cutting, so it just has a aerial root, and I have it in this little container. So far, it's been a few days now, and she's doing pretty good in my care. And here we have my Philodendron Gloriosum up front and center. This is her newest leaf right here. You can tell the color is still light and she hasn't hardened yet. Doing really good in the cabinet. There's just one leaf, this is the oldest leaf, that's yellowing, but I think it just dried out a little too much. But other than that, she's doing really well. I also think I'm going to be moving this guy because it is taking up a lot of space in this cabinet. I will be doing a review of this IKEA greenhouse cabinet. So yeah, I have a lot to say. But anyways, this plant will probably be moved soon because I have to repot it and stuff. And then next to it, we have my Anthurium clarinervium, which has 4 leaves. And if I can sneak in here, she does have a new growth point, as you see right in the middle there, which is exciting. So more growth during the winter time for this plant. This is my Monstera Thai constellation, looking gorgeous as per usual. She hasn't grown another leaf. She's been in the cabinet for a while now, and she is in a chunky mix. This is the leaf that it grew when I first bought it, and within the first few weeks it pushed out this leaf. But it hasn't grown any more. It's kind of just stopped. So I'm not too sure what's going on. It has lost a couple of leaves as well, so I'm not too sure what to do. I am monitoring it and see if I can help it out. But other than that, she's just doing her thing and enjoying the cabinet. I had to kind of move plants around so that you can see all of them, but this is the Philodendron Silver Sword cutting that I was talking about. So it does have two beautiful leaves and does have a growth point. It's in moss, has some beautiful roots as well. Yeah, so this one I probably won't keep, but I will be selling. But I'm just so proud that I was able to make a cutting, and one of cutting that has big leaves like this. So even this leaf is really big too. This is another plant that you would have seen downstairs. So it's my Syngonium Silver Splash that I have just in the cabinet for now. Just trying to find a spot for it and potentially have it growing up something or going to propagate it. So not too sure, but we will see. And I do have a jar beside it that already has cuttings. So hopefully I will be able to have a fuller plant one day. So this is a new leaf here. Now we're going to look at the plants that are on the bottom shelf. So this is my Cebu Blue that's doing actually really well in this cabinet. You see it's grown that much if you did see my other video of the greenhouse cabinet. So it's definitely liking the higher humidity, and I have cut it back quite a bit just to sell cuttings, but I still have a really full plant. Beside my Cebu Blue, we have my Philodendron Mommy, which is, again, such a gorgeous plant. This is the original leaf that it came with. Actually had two original leaves that it came with, and I'm going to show you the one leaf that came out before this one. Look at this little leaf. Aww. So this is the first leaf that grew for me when I first bought the cutting. It is a mid cutting. And then after this leaf is when it pushed out this beautiful leaf. So silvery and pillowy. Oh, so beautiful. And the coolest part is, if I can show you, look at that. There's like rigid edges on the petiole, which is super cool. Here's my baby Melanochrysum that's growing on this bamboo pole. It's still in moss. I'm debating whether or not to switch it to a chunky medium, but we will see. It's doing well. It's kind of just chilling now. I don't think it's going to be growing throughout the winter, but maybe because it's in the cabinet, it may push out new growth, but we will see. Here is my Syngonium Jade, and I love this plant, and I'm so proud of it because I grew it from 3 single leaf cuttings, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 leaves on it. So pretty proud of that because it is a slow grower and I've just been patient with it. And recently I think it's just been really happy being here in the greenhouse cabinet. It's not long term, it's just for now, but I think it's enjoying the extra humidity while it's in the cabinet. There's a leaf that's unfurling. And here at the front, I just have another prop box with a bunch of stuff. And then here is I think another Syngonium Albo cutting. Don't actually remember, but there's 2 wet sticks in here and one already has a new growth point. I moved some plants around so that I could bring this plant up and show you it in all its glory. This is my Philodendron McDowell. I am so happy that I purchased this plant. It is more of a rare plant, I do have to say that, but I am just so grateful that I was able to purchase it and add it to my collection. It is just a gorgeous specimen. It's pillowy, it's a cross between a Pastizanum and a Gloriosum, so best of both worlds. And this is the newest leaf. It's a light green and it's gonna slowly turn into this deep green. This is one of the original leaves that it came with the cutting. And then if I just turn it around, this is the other leaf that came with the cutting. So you can tell right away that the leaf that has grown in my care is bigger than the original two. So I am so proud of this plant. But okay, that's all I have to say about this plant. Let's move on, but I just wanted to share that with you. Back here we have my Hoya Crimson Princess that is vining upwards, doing really good in the cabinet. This is another plant you would have seen in the other video, but just gonna show you her again. Lots of beautiful variegation. You can see some pink, you can see the white. Such an easygoing plant as well. If you did watch my IKEA greenhouse cabinet videos, then you may be asking, where are the plants that I had on these little shelves? I actually sold them, so I don't have them anymore. They were small alocasia plants and everyone loved them, and they actually sold within a couple of days, which was nice. So yeah, those plants I do not have anymore.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed my houseplant tour for fall 2021. Leave a comment down below and let me know what plants you're the most impressed with, what plants you feel have grown the most since earlier this year. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Give this video a thumbs up. If you did like seeing all my plants, maybe I'll do it more frequently, like every other season, just so that we can continue to see how my collection evolves. Make sure you're subscribed. A lot of people have been subscribing and I appreciate it so much. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing, and my goal is to reach 1,000 before the new year. So help me out in that way. And then also you can stick around, join me on my plant mom journey. You can share with me your journey as we go along as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon.